How's it going, everybody? Emerald Void here, welcoming you to the second episode of Voidcast. I've got a pretty good bit I want to talk about today. A lot of Blizzard news. So let's just jump right on in. The first topic that I want to talk about is not Blizzard related, but um, it does fit the theme, and that is DC rumors. So there's been a lot of rumors that have been flying around lately, such as Ben Affleck's going to be coming back as Batman, Ryan Reynolds is coming back as Green Lantern. There's a Justice League Rebirth movie getting made. Keanu Reeves is coming back for Constantine. Um, Batgirl's going to be in the Michael Keaton Batman Beyond movie, and just a whole bunch more. So Scooper and writer for the Wrap, Umberto Gonzalez, he went on Twitter Tuesday, and unfortunately, he shot down a lot of these really cool DC rumors that have been reported on. And he did confirm that there was going to be a Zatanna movie. It's in development, so there's that. And Ezra Miller is going to be starring in the new Flash movie, so there's also that. Um, but let's pick apart some of the other rumors that have kind of been popping up lately in regards to DC. So, in regards to Batgirl essentially replacing Terry McGinnis in a Batman Beyond movie that's going to see Michael Keaton as Batman to Barbara Gordon, um, Umberto says that she might have a cameo or two at best. Um, and as far as Michael Keaton coming back in a Batman Beyond movie, that sounds really cool, and I really would like that to happen and to see more on that. What about there was one that J.J. Abrams was going to be rebooting the DC universe through a Justice League Rebirth movie. According to Umberto, it's not true at all. Honestly, I love DC, but I feel like their movie universe it leaves something to be desired. In my opinion, they make way better TV series and animated series than they do movies, and it's really a shame. That's not to say all of the movies that they make are bad, but like I feel like they have a lot more time invested in their TV universe and their animated universe than they do in their actual um, movie universe. Um, the next one makes me really sad, um, and that was the one about Keanu Reeves coming back for a, a Constantine movie. And Umberto said, and I quote, there is no Constantine movie being made at DC. Period. Um, and this breaks my heart because I loved the original Constantine movie and I love Constantine as a character, and I hope that this is eventually going to be made as a movie. Um, I just I think that out of all the ones that I read that were quote unquote busted, I think that this was the one that made me the most sad. Um, there's also apparently been rumors that Ryan Reynolds is going to be returning to reprise his role as Green Lantern, and that one was also debunked. And Umberto goes on record saying that's not true. There's no deal or talks with Warner on this, so I got a lot of mixed feelings on it. The first Green Lantern movie was okay at best. Honestly, if it wasn't for Ryan Reynolds being in it, I don't think I would have liked the movie at all. Um, I mean, the movie was just bad. There's just no other way to dance around the fact that that movie was just bad. It had some things that I thought were cool, but it had a lot of things that were just really bad. Um, so I'm not as upset about that one. I think Ryan Reynolds is fine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's not to say he couldn't come into DC and do something, but I think he's found his home as Deadpool. And all scoopers don't get everything right, and sometimes they give false information, sometimes without even knowing that they're doing so, to throw fans off of the scent of what's really going on. So a lot of this could actually be true, and this guy is just kind of trying to throw us off and, not. Because, these studios do these things because they want it to be a secret and they want to surprise fans and be like, hey, surprise, we're doing this. And a lot of times people dig a little too deep. and they spoil the surprise. But only time is going to tell. WB's holding their DC fandom virtual convention next month, so hopefully a lot more is going to be talked about these particular movies at that convention. Change gears here, and let's talk about the World of Warcraft expansion. So, I don't really have a lot to say on this because I currently don't play World of Warcraft, but Blizzard announced during one of their live streams that a beta for this is going to be going live sometime next week. The expansion's called Shadowlands, and like all the other previous expansions, especially the betas, it's going to be a good way for you to jump in ahead of the launch and try out some of the new zones and dungeons and like the patches and nerfs and buffs and stuff like that, and kind of get a feel for if you want to keep playing to play in the current expansion or not. But your progress isn't going to carry over to the live servers. So the betas are going out sometime next week, and you can opt in. You just got to go to your account management page on battle.net and toggle on the option to receive beta invites. And then to play in the beta, you're going to need to download a special client from the battle.net launcher. I don't think I'm going to be participating in this beta because I don't currently have a active World of Warcraft subscription, and two, I was never really big into World of Warcraft, so not really my forte. But the beta is going to be a pretty complete experience too. Apparently, players are going to be able to level all the way up to whatever the level cap is. Um, and the beta is supposed to be quote unquote feature complete, but there's going to be a lot of bugs because it is going to be a beta. But it'll be the first time that players are going to get to experience everything in Shadowlands. And supposedly the expansion's supposed to come out sometime in the late fall. Another piece of Hearthstone news. Ben Thompson has left the Hearthstone team. So in the article here that I've got on screen, shows a Descent of Dragons logo, and it says this logo was bittersweet as it would serve. It's also served to close out my tenure with the Hearthstone team and the game that had come to mean so much to me over the last decade. So in an ArtStation post, Ben Thompson said that, that's the quote that he had made, that he was leaving the Hearthstone team as their lead artist. For those of you who have no idea who Ben Thompson is or what Hearthstone is a card game made by Blizzard, and Ben Thompson was the lead artist. He was responsible for developing and maintaining the art style of the game throughout a long time. Throughout the years, he's created a lot of familiar cards, expansion logos. He's made some of the game boards, the card backs, and just a whole lot of art for Hearthstone. Looking on his list here, he made Leeching Poison. He's done Adis Darkbane. He's done Light Sorrow. He did the artwork for the coin, one of the most iconic cards in the game. Gallywix's coin. Band of Bees. Shut Up Priest. And The Hunted. He also was responsible for creating our favorite Smork hero, Rexxar. So yeah, he did the art for Rexxar. I have a link in the description for his art portfolio, and I don't really know what this means for Hearthstone artistically going forward. Personally, I don't really see anything changing, honestly. The art style might get a little different, but it's been getting different as the expansions go on. So it'll be nice to see a little bit of change in pace in the art style. We'll just have to wait and see. I do have a couple of more Hearthstone topics to talk about. One of them being the nerfs for coming out on the 14th, I believe. Let me find the thing here, my notes. So it's the 17.6 balance update that's coming out on July the 14th. Warrior, Mage, Druid, Demon Hunter, and Rogue are getting a nerf, as well as DQA, a neutral legendary card. So Corsair Cash is getting a nerf. Instead of giving it the one attack and the one durability, it's giving it just the one durability. A lot of times, I don't feel like Warrior really cares about that one attack. They normally just want the durability to get more of those, you know, shuffle a bomb effects, or get a pirate effect, or get a lackey effect. They really just care about getting extra durability to get those extra effects for one extra turn. Although, depending on what you're playing against, having that extra attack and being able to deal with a 3 health minion could be pretty significant. We'll just have to wait and see after the patch hits how these nerfs are going to affect the meta. Next, we have Dragoncaster, which hurts my heart a little bit because Dragoncaster is such a really cool card, especially for Highlander Mage. 6 mana 4/4. If you're holding a dragon, the next spell that you cast this turn is going to cost 0. Well, they're leaving that ability the same, but they're making Dragoncaster a 7 mana dude instead of a 6 mana dude. I'm not going to flat out say that is going to kill the card. Some list may still run it. Some Highlander decks may still run it, but I don't think I see the point in running Dragoncaster anymore, because a lot of times what you're doing on 6 when you play the Dragoncaster is you're playing, you're normally playing an 8 to 10 mana spell. Like you're playing Power of Creation, you're playing Pyroblast, you're playing, you're going Evocation Dragoncaster into a big spell you get off that. You're going Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron was the big play. And playing Dragoncaster on 7 just to Power of Creation does not seem worth it anymore when you could just wait a turn in Power of Creation. And getting to Puzzle Box on 10, or like Puzzle Boxing on 7 when you can normally cast it on 10, it's like you go Dragoncaster on 7. What are you really going to hit with it? Like, what spell? Like, yeah, sure, Puzzle Box on 7 is, it's still early for Puzzle Box, but it's not gonna really matter, because around turn 7 is, I feel like, when everything starts to shift one way or the other, or decks start to stabilize. So I don't really know how Puzzle Box on 7 is going to be versus Puzzle Box on 6. Again, with these nerfs, we're just going to have to see what happens. DQA taking a hit. The dragons are no longer going to cost 0. They're going to cost 1. So no more going turn 9 Dragon Queen into 2 0-cost dragons. It will be a turn 10 where you drop Alexstrasza and one of those dragons, or you just drop Alexstrasza and you wait for the next turn. Now, I get why they did that, because people were going Dragon Queen Alexstrasza 2 0-cost dragons, and that's a big tempo play. That's a lot of damage potentially. That's at least 8 with the DQA. And then depending on what you get from those 2 dragons, could potentially be, 16, 20, 32 boatload of damage. That's like normally on turn 9 as Highlander Hunter, they're already pretty dead by 9, and dropping those 3 dragons is normally going to get you the win. So I see why they bump the cost to 1, but it does suck, and I really hate to see DQA get nerfed. Fungal Fortunes now is going to cost 3 mana instead of 2. I don't think that this card is going to get cut from Spell Druids, but then again, when you've got other stuff that you could potentially have to do on 3, maybe you want to Ironbark, or you want to Bog Beam, or you want to do something like that, and you don't really have enough mana to do more than one thing, and you've got 3 3-mana spells in your hand, it kind of puts you in a bind on which one you need to do. So I don't really know if Fungal Fortunes will continue to see play or not. It again, all of these are really, really early to tell. I'm gonna say yeah, because it's still just a really good draw three and discard any minions. So I guess it's just gonna be situational for the deck list. Um, Galakron the Nightmare getting hit as well. It's still going to cost 7 mana. It's still going to give you the armor. It's still going to give you the 5/2 claw. The only difference is, much like DQA, the cards you draw are not going to be 0 anymore. They're going to be 1. But my thing is that's still not really going to fix the problem. Because say you go on turn 6. Say you go, we'll say 5. Say you go turn 5. You go wand off of your dude man, off of your Togwaggle. You have a lackey. You go Togwaggle, you take wand. You hit Galakron. Galakron's going to cost 0. So on 6, you can just go Galakron for free and then still draw your 4 cards that cost 1. And you're still going to have the mana to play all of those cards. So it's only going to slow it down a little bit, but I guess they're just getting tired of all of this amazing card generation that these classes were having. Although I don't feel like Galakron Rogue is really like... It's still a prominent deck online, but it's not as prominent as it was. It's kind of fell off a little bit. So I don't really know, other than like, it's the cheat meta where games can literally be yanked out from under you from these 0 mana cards, and I think that's what they're trying to get away from. I think that's really why they made these cost 1 mana instead of 0. Up next on the chopping block, Demon Hunter. It's about time is all I can say. Yes, it sucks because I will admit that I played Demon Hunter on the ladder to climb. But at the same time, it's nice to see this class get some more nerfs. Kane's Sun Fury now is going to still be the same. He's a 4 mana dude that's going to ignore taunt. But he is a 3/4 now instead of a 3/5. So he's a little bit easier to deal with. Sometimes people that don't really care about taunt, they'll just drop him down on 4. Now they got a 3/5 with charge they can trade and get some value out of. Now he's going to be a little bit easier to deal with. Metamorphosis also getting hit with a nerf. Instead of doing 5 damage, it's going to do 4 damage. So you are basically giving up 2 damage. But I still think that it's not a bad. It's basically having Glavebound Adept on a stick. You don't have to swing. So it's basically just having a Glavebound Adept on a stick. The last one is Warglaives of Azzinoth, which kind of came out of nowhere. It was a 5 mana 3/4 weapon. Now it's a 6 mana 3/4 weapon with the same ability. That, I feel like, hurts Demon Hunter in the long run, because 6 mana, it's kind of a lot for the same ability. I feel like a lot of people are just going to wind up cutting the Warglaives of Azzinoth for Eldrazi Warblade, or that's really the only option, Eldrazi Warblade. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how these nerfs are going to affect the meta. They don't go out until the 14th, so there are still 3 days for you to play the expansion as is before the nerfs come into effect. So the last piece of news that I want to talk about is Galakrons. And this article is like, how strong are Galakrons now, and how strong are they going to be for the rest of the year? Honestly, I don't feel like Galakrons are super strong right now. Certain ones are. The Priest Galakron could be better. Depending on what comes out in the next expansion, Galakron Priest could be a good meta deck. There are a lot of Priest in the meta, in the ladder. especially as you get higher. Um, I don't know why. I don't know how. I mean, other than they're just insane value generators with their button. They get a pretty good button. Probably the best button that a Galakrond could get. Getting a random priest minion is just really good value for 2 mana. Then I would have to give it up after that. Would have to arguably be the rogue, because generating those lackeys is just insane. After that, I would probably give it to. It's really tough because the other Galakrons are not very good. They're saying that with Galakron having Fate Weaver and Reckless Rocketeer and Grave Rune and stuff, like I don't know. I feel like Priest Galakron is the best. Um, Followed by Rogue Galakron, which is obviously it's getting nerfed, so it's not going to be nearly as good. Although still getting the lackeys off of the Invoke is not bad. I really would like to see a list that runs Grand Lackey Urk, just because I think that card is really cool and it doesn't really get used in a lot of decks. So I'd like to see a more lackey centric deck that uses Urk to generate more lackeys. After that, I think Shaman is like the worst right now. Um, then see, so I'd put Priest at the top. Then I would put Rogue. Then I would put and this is just in speaking in terms of what the Galakron package does, not how it applies in the meta. But Warrior would be next. Getting that attack and being able to swing out and do tons of damage with Ritual Chopper and stuff is just really good. Then it would be it's a tie between Warlock and Shaman, but I would probably put Warlock over Shaman. But Shaman is more fun to play than Galakron Warlock to me. So a lot of people are looking at these Galakron Bomb Warriors, and it's just I think Galakrons are going to be around for a while. I don't think Galakrons are really going to go anywhere. I think that maybe next expansion, depending on what comes out, Galakrons could potentially go away, but I think honestly Priest Galakron right now is like really the only other than, I mean, there's Res Priest and there's Tempo Priest, but Galakron Priest seems to be the most popular build. Depending on what they release in the next expansion, I don't think that Galakron Priest is going anywhere. I think if anything, it's just going to be more prominent on the leaderboards, or not the leaderboards, but in ranked. I think Rogue's going to take a fall off. I don't think a lot of people are going to want to pay the one. I see a lot of comments griping about, well, hello, 1 mana preps and 1 mana backstabs and 1 mana shadow steps. So I see a lot of people being like, big oof, why did you nerf my Galakron? But we'll just have to wait and see. The new expansion, and this is just guesswork because I have no idea, but I think the new expansion, they're going to start teasing it in the next couple of weeks. And then sometime around mid-August, we'll probably get the next expansion for Hearthstone. But that is it, guys. Sorry I didn't do this live. I just didn't go live with this. I normally record Voidcast live every Friday before my regular stream. I just didn't feel like it. It's currently 4:30 in the morning as I'm recording this, but I just kind of wanted to get this done, get it recorded, and get it up on the YouTube. Sorry it took so long to get episode 1 edited and uploaded. I had a lot of personal family issues that came up that kept me from getting that edited and uploaded when I said I was going to. But expect episode 3 of Voidcast to be next Friday before the regular stream. And yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Voidcast.